Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. Man, it's mad. You know what? I said I wouldn't be here. I said I wouldn't do any more videos. And then it comes to this, and look what I am doing. I'm on another video. So we are talking to you guys about Ready to Love, but I'm just doing an after a kind of review of Sabrina and Demetrius, because I think there's some lessons that I think all of us can learn from watching have their various interviews. I think both parties came on this platform, and I think the audience took to both sets of people. We can see clearly how the audience liked Demetrius and how the audience also liked Sabrina after their interviews. And there's a reason for that. And it's simply being the consciousness and awareness of their particular behavior. People can take you in and it can accept you when you're being aware and being accountable for your behavior. And so it was some interesting conversations. There were some interesting thoughts that came to my mind that I want to share with you guys as well, because I think this can help a lot of people in the dating scene. So we're going to talk a little bit about it on this. We'll be here for a few minutes, and then I'm going to finish this live, and we're going to go and jump on another live. We're going to talk about Love and Marriage DC. So if you're watching Love and Marriage DC, episode 2 review live will be, I think, about 10 past 3. For you guys, that'll probably be around about, what's that? 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, about 10 o'clock for you guys, if you're on EST time. So we're going to jump on that in a second or two as well. But I want to talk specifically about the guarded game. I call people game players, and the reason why I say that is because of the way that they operate through the whole process. And I'm going to break it down with Demetrius and Sabrina, because actually, if only these two could remove the guard, they actually could have been good for each other. If only they could have removed the guard, they could have been great for each other. So let's talk about it as well. But before we do, if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor: like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you know what it is, baby. You got the middle rows.
You know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is.
Yes. Talking about Sabrina and talking about Demetrius, I think we can both clearly see that both these parties have control issues. Both of them. Both Sabrina and Demetrius have control issues. They both like to control the environment that they're in and control what's happening. Now, they control it for different reasons. And I think this is what's really key. I think we can learn from this, because where they're operating from is a spectrum of what they've understood from their childhood. And this is what they've grown into. Both Sabrina and Demetrius are two peas in a pod, but have different ways of showcasing their control issues. Sabrina wants to be involved in every single decision, and there's no way you guys can play it off, or I can play it off and say, no, she just wants to be consulted for 1 or 2 issues. No, she wants to be involved in every single decision, which then becomes a problem, right? That's control. And then Demetrius too wants to take care of everything and almost feel like, you know what, you don't need to be concerned with it. That's an area of control too. And actually, both of these parties were speaking on opposite ends of spectrum, but on the same spectrum. Control, and they come from whatever you experience in life where you felt like you didn't have control. That's going to be what you're going to grow into, right? And so when I heard both of their interviews, funny enough, I did the exact same thing for both of their interviews. For Demetrius, when he was speaking at certain points about Sabrina thing, I didn't really question him on his experience with Sabrina. There was no need to. I just need to hear what you got to say. Sabrina too, when she was talking about her experience with Demetrius, I don't really question you on that. I just want to hear what you got to say, because I was trying to figure out this point of where this thing actually broke down, right? And these two both have some good self-awareness. Both of them do. They both have great self-awareness. That is actually probably what drew them to each other in the first place. And what took them apart was the aspect where they both felt like they were in a place where they didn't have control over the other, right? They did actually say that. They both use the word rhythm. It's very true. They both use the word rhythm. And it is because both parties are used to being in a more dominant position with the other person. And thus, when the other person does not respond in a submissive position, there is going to be a trigger. right? There's going to be a trigger. And we both saw that, you know, with both Sabrina, and we saw that with Demetrius. When Sabrina felt like he wanted to lead in a particular way that she wasn't comfortable with, where she won't give up her last name, where she wants to have co-op piloting in this situation, as soon as she realized that there would be a traditional setup, trigger, boom, all right, I'm shutting it down. Soon as I get that energy from you, I'm shutting it down, and I'm not going to be about it. And then the same thing, um, you know, the same thing also with Demetrius, when he realized that, similarly enough, because he's been having to lead his family. He's had to be the oldest, not the oldest, but technically he's had to, you know, look after his sisters and everything like that. When someone doesn't respond in that submissive form, that's also a trigger. And when the person also doesn't give you the energy that you require in terms of you to feel safe, bearing in mind obviously what he told us about going through some abandonment issues as well, then that's going to become a trigger. So Sabrina's behavior, where she's flicking between himself and Donovan, that is a trigger, right? Where, and I'm not saying in the sense of he's weak. No, I'm saying in the sense of it's a trigger, because when someone is not being consistent, or you see that the energy is shifting for you, that can trigger you to say, I'm done. I ain't playing this game, right? And clearly we saw two people jostling with one another and jostling with themselves. This is why you know, sometimes we meet people and we could be good for them, but how we behave can now take us away from that person, or they can take away from themselves, or we can take away from each other. And I think that's really, really key place to look at as well. You know, and said obviously that he wasn't it was biblical for a man to lead. Yeah, no, I think I'm not saying it's not biblical for a man to lead. I think in the sense of what I'm talking about is the energy that it carries, right? So the energy that carries in terms of how does that control look like? How does that you know, how does that you know, how does that come about to the other person? Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm kind of looking at. They triggered each other, right? Um, and that want of, because there are different levels of, when we talk about leadership, there are different levels or different operating energies that we can operate in. When we talk about leadership styles, there are around about 10 or so leadership styles. We have authoritarian, we have coaching, we have democrative, we have laissez-faire, we have what you said, there's another one I can't remember. There's like 10, and I can't remember half of them. Do you know what I mean? But there's about 10 types of leadership styles. In that particular instance, when there's that many styles, everybody has a default that they normally fall into. And I've said this before, your leadership style is important because it often matches with what you've experienced in your lifetime. And until you're conscious about that leadership style, you won't be able to change it. So I can also see from Sabrina's viewpoint, and see from his viewpoint. I can understand where he's coming from. He's also been in the military. That can make your your leadership style very, look, everything has to be that, because there is life and death on the line. And that kind of thinking is very hard to get out of. You know what I'm saying? So I can see his perspective in terms of, look, I'm doing this to keep us safe. I'm doing this to make sure that we're good. I'm doing this so that we are going and progressing in the right fashion. And I can definitely see his side too. And I can also see Sabrina's side, which is also this, that you can also see this as well about, hey, okay, you know, for Sabrina, it's almost like being controlled. We heard her say it herself. Being any kind of energy where it's being about being controlled, that's going to be a problem. So for her, being in a relationship where someone is going to have that level of control over her, that's also going to be a trigger. This is where two people are meeting. So they could have been good for each other, but they both had this triggering moments in the series. And then seeing Sabrina, obviously, she knows what she's doing. She's smart. She's not an idiot. She too, wanting to, intentionally flirting with Demetrius in front of Donovan at the second day in the house. That's intentional. That's very intentional. It's why I called her a game player, and I still call her a game player. And Demetrius, in a sense, is a game player too, because he knew how to play the game. He knew what he had to do in the game. Everybody knows what he has to do in the game. He said it himself. I had to make sure I protected myself. How do you do that? You got to play the game. You got to have a second or a third. That's playing the game. You're a game player. That's what I mean by people being game players. They are very much aware of what's going on around them, and they move in such a way. So, you know, so learning, obviously, you know, learning and seeing how each person moves is really, really key. I think watching also and listening to also Demetrius and listening to also Sabrina. When Sabrina then does the whole "I'm gonna be on Donovan" situation, interesting to also see Demetrius's reaction as well. Now, I personally wouldn't have done cat and mouse game, but I will tell you this now: you're not about to play me. My heart will no longer be in it. I told you it's already up me. I don't play this game. And here's the thing. Here is the biggest thing. I will tell you this for free about most men, because people I hear people say this sometimes, and they're like, a man should fight for a girl, and I'm like, no. A man will fight when he knows he's going to win. There's a difference, right? When you know the chances of you winning are good, when you know for sure the chances are that the other man's going to win, you don't usually fight in that respect. You know what I'm saying? Right? And the woman too also knows how to play this game because she knows who she likes. Right? So in all honesty, when I look at the situation with Demetrius, I said this earlier on in the season. I said Demetrius didn't mind having the war with Tori because he already knew he was conquered. Right? Demetrius already knew he had already won with Tori. So when Tori piped up, he don't care. When Donovan came in, though, the situation changed because her energy shifted. So now he knew I no longer had Sabrina the way I used to have her. Now, why I have to think about how I'm fighting now. Now I have to think about, am I going to war this game? Because sometimes women be thinking a man should fight for me. No, we're fighting for you when we know we can win. We're not fighting when we know that we're going to lose. That don't make no sense. Why am I going to fight and know I'm going to lose? So we fight from a position of victory already. So in all honesty, I understood why his behavior would have changed towards Sabrina because the game had changed. Another player had come in who's a curveball who had the potential to do damage, and he did do damage. Because when Donovan came in, so literally, this is how I thought Sabrina was. This is how I think Sabrina was thinking. This is my theory. It's my own theory. No, it's not the truth. It's my own theory. This is how I think Sabrina was thinking. Donovan comes in. Okay, no, Tori and Demetrius are here, right? Tori is a buffer for Demetrius in the sense of, for Sabrina, Tori being in the game allows her to keep her cards close to her chest. She doesn't have to fully commit to Demetrius. And she can do that without it being an absolute problem. So long as Tori was in the game, she can always say, I've got another connection, so I don't have to commit to Demetrius immediately. Yeah. But with Tori was never going to win against Demetrius. No offense to Tori out there, I like you, but never was going to win against Demetrius because of the way she saw him, right? But he was a good buffer, meaning she didn't have to commit to Demetrius. Then when Donovan comes in, Donovan is not Tori. Donovan is a big time fish in this instance. What I say by that is she fancied Donovan physically. Right? So now it's a case of the question we got to ask ourselves, which is what when I see people playing these kind of games, is sometimes people weigh up the options, and the option is maybe for Donovan, she's looking at as he's a good-looking guy, wouldn't mind tasting, but would I get into a relationship? And then looking at Demetrius and going, I probably see more of a relationship with Demetrius, but there are issues there that I don't also like. So I've got a bit of both. I've got someone who I think I fancy hard, but I don't know if I would go into a relationship with that person. And then I've got somebody who I think would be good maybe I would be happy to go in a relationship, but then there are certain things that I really don't like, which I know are not going to work for me. And it's like you're in between two, right? And so now, right now, you got this big time player coming in, and she actually liked Donovan physically. Hence why she said it wouldn't have taken long, 3 more drinks and she would have been gone. Now, that lets us know there's a physical attraction there that's very, very heavy. Demetrius, she did say earlier on, is more her type physically, but with Donovan, there is something that she looked at, right? So, interestingly enough, Donovan does what he does. They do their little kiss. Don't tell anyone. All right. That's fine by Sabrina, because Sabrina is here to play. Sabrina's here to protect herself too. She doesn't want to get caught up and caught out, you know. So Sabrina's got her game too. She also playing her game as well, you know. Hold on a second. Let me turn the light around because it's a bit dark. Sabrina also got her game too, right? So she doesn't mind the kiss being silent. That's cool. It works for her. She can keep the kiss silent, and she can still have a connection with Demetrius and still have a connection with Donovan. Something along the way happens, which is the game. This is what I'm saying about people need to be aware, because your fears, the game happens. Here's the game. Donovan also, I believe, likes Sabrina. I personally think Donovan likes Sabrina a lot. But I told you, when men are not sure 100% of where they are going to stand with a woman, the fight becomes completely different. See, what you have to take into account is, as men, our pride and our ego can do a lot. And so if now I'm in a situation where I'm seeing old girl Sabrina liking me but liking Demetrius, and you like us the same, there's a danger here. And if already I've been hurt in the past, right? I told you I got my own issues when it comes to emotional attachments. You know, if my attachment style is avoidant, you know, and that comes from a lack of emotional connection with the father figure, right? Not having that father figure emotional connection, in a sense. We heard from Donovan too, you know, in a situation that he had, you know, father figure situation. We had also with Demetrius, father figure situation. We all got father figures. We all got father figure problems. When this happens, what we are trying to do now is we're going to protect ourselves, because we're not about to be hurt again. Right? And when Sabrina decides to dabble in between both of them, with both of them not sure exactly where they stood, the next step for us as men is to nuke you. You're not about to play us. Because we don't already been played as a kid. You're not about to play us. You're not about to do us dirty. See, Donovan had the upper hand at a point when he said the kiss thing, don't tell anyone. It was his secret. Until he realized, hold on a minute, Sabrina potentially could be playing me and Demetrius, and I could potentially lose. Then the bomb has to go off. Just in case, I'm going to move to Carmen, just in case. You know, I'm gonna, just in case, I gotta have my backup. Now, Donovan moving to Carmen ain't the issue. The issue is that he, not even the issue in that sense. He also had another card, just like Sabrina had another card. Everybody had their second person to buffer with, right? So Donovan goes to Carmen and protects himself from Sabrina. This is how my mind is thinking about it. I'm just gonna be real honest with you. But of course, I can't expect Donovan to come out and say, I chose Carmen because you know, I was scared that Sabrina would hurt me and I would move away. I can't expect him to say that. I cannot expect to say that. But this is why I said to you guys, being second choice is not it. It's not it, because this is what this is what I'm talking about. When you have a decision to make in the immediate moment, when you got two people exactly at the same time, these are second choices, right? Okay, cool. No beef. Okay, so now Donovan is battling with Sabrina, and he realizes Sabrina is not going to be tamed. Therefore, I'm also going to rely on my person. Sabrina's also, I'm going to rely on my person, which is Demetrius. He's going to rely on Carmen. Now, when and this is why I said that Sabrina didn't choose. This is why Sabrina didn't choose herself. She played the game like everybody else did, okay, and realized, okay, maybe the options are not that great. You didn't really choose yourself in a sense. You still played the game. Choosing yourself would have been quit a long time ago. She played the game, all right. She wants to be desired. That's the whole truth. Sabrina played the game of I want to be desired. And when the game got to a point where it no longer could really go any further, then I quit. But let's be honest, it's about being desired. Now, with Donovan sees Carmen and goes, well, I'm going to lean on Carmen. You can't play me. I'm going to lean back on Carmen. You can't play me. I have another option. Because the truth of the matter is, when you have options, it allows you to relax. When you have options, you can now relax. I don't have to stress about what you're doing because I have somebody else there. Do you see what I'm saying? Options give you power. So now when Sabrina and Donovan are battling, Donovan relies on Carmen, says you can't get me, but just in case Sabrina tries to trump me, I'm going to tell Carmen about this kiss. Right? I'm gonna tell Carmen about this kiss. Now, Donovan then whatever has conversation with, whatever goes through his brain, he's the main culprit here in the sense of at this point, he just had to leave it there. Right? He just had to leave it there because at that point, he won. Right? In that point, I don't say sorry, he didn't win. At that point, he covered himself. Because at that point, now, he's told Carmen. Carmen is his connection. He doesn't need to say anything else. That's it. Doesn't say anything else. It's done. Now, Demetrius at this point doesn't know Sabrina's kissed Donovan, right? But Demetrius is also seeing the energy shift from Sabrina. And before Sabrina can do him a Tory, he's like, you're not going to get me like that. Now, this is also not just the game as well, but this is also past behavior. He went back into past behavior. I know because I can do it too. I'm not judging him on a bad thing. I'm saying I can do this too, right? I can also do this too, where it's if you're about to get me, I know how to emotionally detach very quickly. Don't think you're gonna get me. I'm emotionally detached. No. And this is the truth. I don't think you ever are cured from emotional detachment. I don't think you're ever cured. I think you do better to be conscious of your choices, but you can always fall back into it because you know how to do it. It's a level of power to emotionally detach yourself from situations and people. It is very difficult to release that level of power. Right? So when now Demetrius sees Sabrina moving around with Donovan, even that first day, you see in the very first day, that very first day where you see that where he said that he saw them interacting very much so, right? When you see that, then you look at it and you go, oh, okay. All right, then, cool. Now I'm seeing it. Now you're moving like that. All right, cool. So Demetrius is seeing something. Oh, we're moving like that. All right, cool. You gonna get the cat and mouse game. And fair play to Demetrius. He actually admitted it. And this is why I like Demetrius. And I said it to you guys on an interview. I said, you're gonna like Demetrius because when we spoke behind the scenes, he was very candid. He didn't hold no punches. He didn't try to get around it, try to make it seem nice. He told the truth. He's like, listen, I did what I did. I ain't gonna lie to you. And that's why I liked about Demetrius, because he's honest about that kind of thing. So he admits in this point that that yes, he played a cat and mouse game. And the cat and mouse game, he used the word, I had to protect myself. Right? This is so key because a lot of us are doing the exact same thing. The way we date and the way we play this game of dating is to protect ourselves. I can't have my heart being hurt. That's different from being guarded. Now, in this situation, as soon as he sees her moving some way, he then goes, I'm emotionally detaching. Cat and mouse game comes out. All right, when I see you, I ain't gonna say nothing. All right, I'm gonna walk past you. It's a zero-sum game. Like either you got me or you ain't got me. I don't really mind, but I'll show you that I am not the one to be played with. I'm not the one to be played with. So if that's what you're playing, I will detach myself right now. I'll detach myself. Right? So there's a detachment that happens. An attachment that happens, and then Sabrina's also going to see that too, and there's going to be a reaction from the detachment. Right? So Sabrina's also behavior then too is the second day of the retreat. What does she do? Lays it on thick. You think that Sabrina wasn't playing a game? Oh my gosh. Sabrina, because of Donovan's choice of choosing Carmen, Sabrina then put it on thick on Demetrius. Come to the pool, come to the sauna, putting her leg on him, wanting to touch him, wanting to hug him, being all vocal. Baby, You didn't do that because you do that. You did that because you were trying to make sure that other person, Donovan, knew what it was. There was a bunch of game playing going on, right? There was a bunch of game playing going on, right? So this is so interesting to see, because this is the guarded. This is what happens when we are feeling like we're gonna be hurt. What's our natural reaction? And this is where emotional unavailability can come in. This is something that I'm learning myself. I'm learning this myself. It is not necessarily, when we talk about emotional availability, we talk about, the person not being available necessarily, but it's also as well about how you deal with pain. And I'm learning this big time, because I thought it was just about, well, I'm open. I'm happy to talk about feelings. I'm happy to. No. What do you do when you feel like pain is coming your way? Because that's the emotional unavailability. That's the higher echelon of you growing. What do you do when you can sense pain's about to come? Do you quit? Do you stop? Do you attack before it happens? What do you do? Right? It's really interesting how we react in those moments. That will tell you where you're emotionally available or whether you're not. And a lot of us, because of our attachment styles, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. It won't be me. So it's interesting to see, you know, it's interesting to see the way that we react to these situations, and and all three, Sabrina, Demetrius, and Donovan, and let me even include myself. I'm not included in that love triangle, but I also know I'm growing in that aspect. Um, I know that I have to work on also that part, how I'm going to deal with pain. It's another level. It's another level to go to, where you start realizing the way I deal with pain, or the way I'm going to anticipate pain, I need to grow from that, so that my response is more mature, so that I don't go into game playing mode, because game playing mode is to help me protect me from you, or to protect you from me. That's what game playing mode is. It's to help me be protected, so that I don't get hurt by what's coming my way. And so this is also really important for anybody watching. These are some of the things we're talking about when we're saying we need to grow and we need to learn from. When we watch these shows, we can talk about other people as much as we want, but are we looking at ourselves? I'm always trying to look at myself. That's why I tried to be like, oh, I understand where you're coming from. Sabrina, I could get it. I understood where part of her was coming from. I can see also with Demetrius, I can see part of where you're coming from. Donovan, I can see part of where you're coming from. I can identify with most people, because I can understand parts of me is dealing with the same thing you're probably dealing with. It's game playing because you're in protection mode. You don't want to be hurt. Yes, gameplay mode is immature, and a lot of us are immature. That's the whole point. There's not a lot of you guys are out there that are mature, because we're talking about growth emotionally. A lot of people don't do that work, but what they do is they find someone, right? You find someone who can be safe and making you feel safe. But what happens when you feel like you're not safe? What do you do? Right? And the Ready to Love game show is a place where it becomes Game of Thrones very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. So it's so interesting to see Donovan and Sabrina, both protect themselves in this game with one another, and Donovan too. And it's something that we can learn from. So yeah, listen. This is interesting to see, like I said. So hopefully you guys have learned something from this. Just to let you know, guys, we have Paul on a Thursday. It's a good point, JR. Good point, JR. I like this. Always doing one-ups each other, result in arguments and hurt feelings. Yeah, gameplay doesn't work for longevity successful relationships. Absolutely true. Especially those gameplays where you're not going to say that you're actually game playing. You're like, me game playing. No, that's how I felt, when really you was game playing. You was doing something subtly to kind of try and get the other person to react. But Thursday, guys, Thursday evening, we do have an interview lined up for you guys. I thought I'd be done. I thought I'd be done. I thought I'd be done. But we have an interview lined up for you guys. Yeah, we have an interview lined up for you guys. We have Paul on Thursday, 6 p.m. EST. Um, we have Paul here for 6 p.m. EST. So we've got that interview coming up on Thursday night. Paul hit me up and said, yeah, he's ready to go. So we're ready to go. Now, what has been confirmed is Eric did hit me up today, this morning, and said he's currently busy, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Eric won't be joining us on this platform for interviews, but we're still yet to hear from Dakia, so we'll hold out that thing for her if she wants to. But we have Paul on Thursday. But yeah, so hopefully, listen, I thought we would be done, but we're here, baby. All right, we're going to jump on another live in a few minutes. If you watch Love and Marriage DC, then you need to get on that. We're going to be reviewing that next as well. There's some interesting things there. We'll love you guys. Do me a massive favor. Vote for me on Influence Me TV. This is a competition I'm involved in. We're in a new round as well. So really would love for you guys to vote for me. I'll send you guys a link so you guys can vote. But yeah, it's interesting end to a season we're having at the moment with these interviews and stuff. So yeah, again, once more, appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. Don't do anything I wouldn't personally do, because it's dangerous on them streets, boy. It's cold. Let me post this link in there so you got it as well. All right, let me post this link in here. Boom. There's a link. Okay. Someone said the DJ cheating. I don't know what anyone says. Low. Hey, come to that live, man. Make sure you come to that live. Let's shoot this. Okay, let's shoot this. Okay, come to that live and we'll talk some more about LAMDC. But there's a link down in the description or in the chat. Click on that link and there's a free vote that you guys can do if you feel blessed enough as well to pay for a vote as well. We also appreciate you. But love, much love and appreciation, guys. Thank you again as well. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you again very, very soon. All right.
Little black.